Let us be still a moment. Inwardly, Father, this is thy time. Speak thy word in our midst. We are not gathered to hear a man, nor to multiply syllables, but to acknowledge the presence that already fills this room, this breath, this very heartbeat. Be still and know that I am God. And the reason is this: without a period of quiet, it is as if we were going to do something of ourselves, but with a pause, even a small one, we say, Father, thou doest the works. I know the ache that brings you here. You have asked and asked, pleaded and reasoned, promising amendment if only heaven would open, and the heavens have seemed as brass. You have rehearsed the same requests at midnight and again at dawn, until the tongue was weary and the heart thin with striving. You have counted the hours, watched the door, measured the silence, and wondered, what am I missing? Why doth peace tarry? Well, beloved, what if, just what if, my asking has been the very block to grace? What if the many words that crowd the inner chamber have muffled the still small voice? When ye pray, said the Master, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. But thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. What is this secret? Not a formula, not a bargain, but a holy acknowledgment. Thou art here. Thou art the life of my life. The Father within me doeth the works. Let us propose a gentle turn. Imagine, if you will, the screen of your inner life. On it appear your questions, your petitions, your urgent timelines. Watch them for a breath, and then let them fade as letters written on water. In their place, notice the breath soft and steady. Notice a still center, even as thoughts pass like birds across the sky. Notice that in the quiet you do not fall, you are held. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. A hush becomes a sanctuary. The hush is not empty, it is presence. Less asking, more listening, more grace. Let that be our little anchor as we begin. Not that asking is sin, for the Master did say, ask and it shall be given you. But he also withdrew to the mountain to pray, and in that aloneness he found the secret place of the Most High. He did not wrest gifts from God, he yielded to God who giveth all. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Hear that not as a sentence to repeat until hoarse, but as a door you walk through. Thy grace, not my insistence. Thy sufficiency, not my schedule. If your heart has been worn by the noise of your own earnestness, be not ashamed. None of us are condemned for loving God too much. We have merely loved our effort more than his presence. Today, we reverse it. We start not with a list, but with a look. Father, thou art the doer. Father, thou knowest what things we have need of before we ask. Father, here I am. Do you see? Grace is not rested by many words. It is recognized as a face recognized in the dawn by humble acknowledgement. Pause. Then, even now, just for a breath, not to get, but to give God the field. Not to argue, but to agree. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. We are not adding noise to the world. We are yielding initiative to the life that sustains worlds. And as this hour unfolds, keep that simple watchword near your heart. Less asking, more listening, more grace. Now let us name our trouble, not to condemn, but to unmask it. Striving. There is a holy desire that rises like a clear flame, quiet, steady, Godward. And there is an anxious asking that is like wind upon that flame, turning light to smoke. Holy desire says, Father, thou art, and rests Anxious asking says, if thou wilt do thus by Tuesday, then I will do thus by Friday, and the soul tightens. One is worship, the other is bargaining. And our Master has already spoken. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Hear it lovingly. He is not rebuking need. He is rescuing us from the noise that drowns the answer. How does anxious asking show its face? It multiplies words because it is afraid. It rehearses the need from 7 angles because it suspects God has not noticed. It recites promises as though they were tokens to trade at a counter rather than assurances to rest the heart. It says, Lord, Lord, many times while the heart is running. Beloved, I have done it. I have pelted the heavens at midnight as if God were drowsy and must be wakened. I have promised reformation if only the door would open, and the heavens seemed brass, not because God was absent, but because my noise filled the chamber. When ye pray, enter into thy closet, said the Master, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. What is the first act in that closet? Be still and know that I am God. Stillness before speech, acknowledgment before petition. For the Lord was not in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. If my closet is packed with my words, explanations, urgencies, timetables, where shall the still small voice speak? When the room is full of my words, there is no room for the word. Anxious asking demands an outcome. Acknowledgment yields the initiative. The one says, do this lest I perish. The other says, Father, into thy hands, and breathes. The one argues the case as an advocate pleading for a client. The other abides as a son in the house, sure that all that I have is thine. The one believes that more syllables will move the hand of God. The other knows that God is moving before speech, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. And the reason is this, I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. When the initiative is yielded, the doer within acts. When I seize the initiative, I must sustain the act, and there is no peace in that. You can hear the difference in your own body. Petition from fear tightens the jaw, shortens the breath, narrows the eyes upon the clock. Acknowledgment loosens the grip, widens the gaze, and lets the breath fall into its God-given cadence. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restoreth my soul. Is it not so? When you have ceased the bargaining, even for a minute, the soul expands. And in that expansion, the assurance arrives without strain. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Let me confess a night when a deadline pressed upon me. I walked the floor with many words, good words, scriptural words, yet I could feel the strain. At last there came inwardly, not as rebuke, but as mercy, be still and let me be what I am. I obeyed. I did nothing heroic. I sat. I acknowledged. Father, thou art the life of my life. The Father within me doeth the works. The atmosphere changed. The phone rang. The provision that no argument had produced arrived through no contriving of mine. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Do not be afraid of your mistakes. None of this is fatal. Simply notice when prayer turns into pleading, when promises become bargaining chips, when the heart grows breathless. In that very moment, shut the door anew. Say little or say only, here am I, and wait upon God. For anxiety-driven asking fills the inner chamber and muffles the still small voice. Acknowledgment clears the room. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. And hearing, you shall find that the word was ready to speak all along. Beloved, when the heart is wearied with delays, we are tempted to seize a promise as though it were a lever to move God. We hold up the text as if to say, "See, thou art bound, perform it now." But Scripture is not a bargaining counter, it is a sanctuary. A promise is a hand laid upon the soul, steadying it until fear dissolves and the inner room grows quiet. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Do you hear it? It is not a code to unlock results, it is a condition to enter. Stay thy mind. Be stayed. Let the promise do its work in you before you attempt to work it upon circumstances. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, said the Master, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. Abide first. Asking grows out of abiding as fruit grows out of a branch that rests in the vine. The order is everything. If I seize the word as a tool, my asking is driven by my fear. If I let the word abide in me, my asking is shaped by God's own life within, and the fruit appears of itself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Hear me gently. Receiving the promise as assurance means you may read it once, whisper it once, and then be hushed. Vain repetition is of no value. The power is not in the hammering. The power is in the indwelling word. Paul gives us the grand relief of this. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit. In other words, when you and I do not even know what to say, God is already praying God's prayer in us. What then is our part? To accept the promise as the chair on which we may sit down, and to grow quiet enough to feel the Spirit's own prayer moving beneath our breath. Not the many words, but the yielded heart becomes the place of intercession. So we take a promise not as a lever, but as a lamp in the dark. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I do not fling it at the heavens, I bring it to the heart. I let it light the room within me until shadows thin and the panic in my chest lies down. I may say it once, perhaps twice, and then I stop. I fall silent in its light. In that silence, the Spirit knows, and the Spirit prays, and peace, which is the atmosphere of God's prayer, spreads through the soul. Be careful for nothing, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. I remember a night in a railway station, noise, announcements, a missed connection, and a man beside me with fear in his eyes. His wife was in hospital. The timetable mocked him. He began to shoot arrows of Scripture into the air, fast and louder, as if he could force an opening. I touched his sleeve and said, "One promise," and then, "Hush, we chose. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace." We said it once together. Then we sat, 2 minutes, perhaps 3. In that quiet, his breath found its rhythm. He looked up and said, "I don't need that late train. I need to ring Dr. S. now." He did, and in that call a path opened that no frantic praying had revealed. A car arranged, a bedside reached, a needless journey spared. I do not tell it to make a rule of outcomes. I tell it to witness the way assurance steadies the heart until guidance becomes simple. Let this be our practice. Take a promise as a gift, placed in the hand by the giver. Read it in your red letter gospel or in your little book of texts, and then close the book and rest. Abide with it, not upon it. If you find your lips beginning to bargain, stop, breathe, let the promise hold you while the Spirit prays. In that atmosphere, asking will be born of God and therefore will carry God's peace. And you will discover that promises are not chips to trade for favors. They are the very floor on which sons and daughters of the Most High learn to stand. Now the question rises naturally in the heart. If the promise steadies me, who then moves? Who carries the hour? Hear the apostle, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. This is the identity turn. It is the end of the lonely, anxious self trying to pry open doors, and the beginning of the Son abiding in the Father, and the Father in the Son. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The issue is not whether there shall be action, but who holds initiative within the action. When I seize it, I must sustain it. When I yield it, the presence acts, and peace becomes the atmosphere. Do you see how this frees us? Outcomes are not mine to force, they are God's to unfold. The branch does not push sap, it abides, and fruit appears of itself. I am the vine, ye are the branches. Without me ye can do nothing. So the first movement of a God-governed life is not activity but availability. Make room for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Give God the field. And you do this in the smallest places where the habit of initiative is formed before the word leaves your lips, before the hand reaches for the door, before the pen signs the agreement. Let us make this very practical. Take as a rule for this week, before any move, pause 10 seconds. Yes, as little as 10 seconds. Inwardly say, Father, this is thy act, not my speech, thy word, not my errand, thy sending. Then be still those few heartbeats. Wait until you feel the breath loosen and the shoulders lower half an inch. That is the sign. Do not hurry it. A few seconds are plenty when they are honest. Then proceed, not as one initiating, but as one carried. If in those seconds a word rises like a fresh spring, speak it. If nothing rises, go forward quietly, knowing the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. In this way, you exchange frenzy for companionship, and you will notice the strangest thing. Peace attends you into rooms that formerly tightened your chest. I have proven this again and again. Before lectures I have said, Father, this is thy lecture. The students have not come to hear Joel, but to hear God. And it is as if a weight drops from the shoulders. The mind ceases to scrape for cleverness. The heart becomes a listening place. And then the word comes not from memory, but from presence. I have tried it in travel. Standing at a junction with two trains imminent, I have taken the 10 seconds, Father, thy act. A nudge without strain, a direction without argument, and later the fruit reveals itself. The person on the carriage who needed the very word we had received in the quiet. You will have your own witnesses, not because you willed them, but because you yielded. But what if I err, you say? Do not be afraid of mistakes, and do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal when yielded to the doer within. If you misstep, the same presence that guides will correct. The shepherd restores the soul. Better a child who reaches out and stumbles into the Father's arms than a strategist who never moves for fear. Remember Peter stepping upon water at a word. When he looked at the wind, he began to sink, and immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand. Immediately. Trust immediacy. If you find you have hurried and taken the initiative back into your own fists, do not scold yourself. Stop where you are. 10 seconds. Father, thou doest the works. Then take the next right step from peace, even if it means retracing. What is this peace? It is not a mood we manufacture. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. It is the climate of the indwelling act when initiative has been returned to its rightful owner. You will know you have yielded when the inner weather clears, sometimes even while the outer sky remains stormy. You may still send the email, make the call, tend the wound, but the doing will not grind the gears. It will be gentle and sure. as if another mind were thinking in you and another life were living you, because it is so. He that is in you is greater than he that is in the world. So begin now. Make no move, at least without acknowledging it. 10 seconds to open the gate. Father, this is thy act. In shops, in conferences, in the kitchen, on the street, 10 seconds. Teach your fingers to stay themselves upon the latch, your tongue to wait at the door of the lips. In that waiting, the life that is truly life will find its outlet, and you will prove that when the initiative is yielded, the presence becomes the actor and peace becomes the atmosphere. Then your days will cease to be a succession of efforts and will become a single, continuous amen. Let us prove this, not in theory, but in practice. Sit at ease, do not slump, let the spine be awake as a stem that bears a flower. Rest the feet upon the earth. Let the hands open upon the lap, palms upward, a small sign to the soul that there is nothing to grip, nothing to force, only a receiving. Soften the eyes. If you will, close them lightly, as if twilight had just come to rest upon the lids. This is not effort, it is availability. Now for a minute we shall let the breath become our little boat into the harbor. Inhale quietly, and within whisper, Abba, Father. Exhale gently, and within answer, thy will, not mine. Again breathe in, Abba, Father. Breathe out, thy will, not mine. No push, no strain. Let the breath find its God-made rhythm. Abba, Father, thy will, not mine. If thoughts wander, do not chase them. Simply return to the breath and the name. Abba, Father, thy will, not mine. Feel the shoulders loosen half an inch. Feel the jaw soften. Abba, Father, thy will, not mine. Now release the words. Lay them down as you would set a beloved book back upon its shelf. Rest in the hush between breaths. Remember the apostle's mercy to the anxious heart. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. We know not, the Spirit knoweth. We utter not, the Spirit prayeth. Trust that. Let the prayer pray you. Attend the silence. Do not seek a sign. Do not audition for a vision. Let peace rise like a tide beneath thought. Thoughts may still scud across the surface like small boats, but beneath them the deep grows quiet. Allow yourself to sink an inch into that depth. Be still and know, not think that He is God. Know that I am God. If an old petition flashes across the inner screen, health, supply, reconciliation, see it appear as text and watch it dissolve as letters on water. Another line may rise, let it fade as well. The screen clears, a soft glow remains. Hold to nothing, resist nothing. Thou art here. If you feel the impulse to help the silence with phrases, do not. Silence needs no scaffolding. Let the breath be enough. The Spirit maketh intercession. If you find the heart reaching, let it reach into rest. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Stay 30 seconds more in the holy unuttered prayer. Now seal the hush with assurance, one sentence only, and then rest again. Whisper, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Or take the Master's given word to Paul, my grace is sufficient for thee. Say it once, perhaps twice, and stop. Do not repeat to push. Speak to agree. Let the sentence settle over the soul like warm light. We return without haste. Allow the breath to feel the room. Sense the weight of the hands upon the lap, the floor beneath the feet. Soften the eyes open. If they were closed, as dawn opens, not as a door flies wide. Carry no verdict, only the climate. If nothing dramatic occurred, be content We do not live by signs. Peace is present, whether felt as a hush or known as a simple absence of hurry. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The test is gentle. The gears no longer grind. The inner weather has cleared a little. In 2 minutes of yielded quiet, the Spirit hath prayed, and peace hath come unforced. Remember what you have witnessed upon your inner screen. Petitions dissolved, and a glow of presence remained. That glow is the lamp you take back into the next moment, into the email, the errand, the kindness at hand. Make no proclamation, make no haste. Keep the amen within the breath, and quietly let the doer within carry you to your next step. Beloved, a moment of peace is a seed, a cadence of peace is a harvest. If all we do is taste stillness now and then, we will bless an hour and forget a day. But if we set a simple rhythm, the day itself is kept. Pray without ceasing is not a marathon of speech. It is a life paced by acknowledgments. So take as your gentle rule of 3, morning, midday, evening, 2 or 3 minutes each of holy listening, not to perform for God, but to present the heart. Father, thou art here. The point is not length. The point is trust made habitual. In the morning, before you touch the world's machinery, before you turn to the wires and the papers, be still for 2 or 3 minutes. Say little. Let one promise steady you, then be hushed. This is the day which the Lord hath made. In the noon hour, when the gears of the day would grind, slip into the closet of the mind and sit those same few minutes. Let the breath lengthen, return the initiative. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency now. In the evening, when the lights dim and the mind would replay its scenes, yield the sum of the hours back into the Father's hands. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. Hear that not as ceremonial, but as rhythm, 3 simple hinges on which the soul's door turns smoothly. Between those hinges, the door opens and closes 1,000 times. There. Let the micro pauses live. A period of meditation may be as little as 10 seconds. Before the call, before the email is sent, at the very edge of the doorway, on the curb, before you step into the street, 10 seconds, inwardly say, Father, this is thy moment. Let the shoulders lower half an inch. Feel the breath return to its God-made pace. Then proceed. If the heart lifts only a glance heavenward in the market or the corridor, it is enough to open the channel. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. 10 seconds at a time. The path becomes a quiet road. Make no move, at least without acknowledging it. Do not hear that as hardness. Hear it as mercy. If you forget, as we all do, do not scold yourself. Stop where you are and begin again. 10 seconds. Father, thou doest the works. Gentle consistency over perfection. Failures are for a day. Grace is for a lifetime. A child learns to walk by many small steps and many small wobbles, yet the walking becomes natural. So these pauses, first deliberate, then instinctive, weave a thread through the hours until the thread becomes a cord and the cord a way of life. What fruit shall you watch for? Not fireworks, but climate. A quieter nervous system, jaw unclenched, breath unhurried, the inner weather clearing. Peace will arrive not as a mood you manage, but as the atmosphere of another acting. Guidance will come on time, naturally, as if it had been waiting just around the bend. A number to dial, a word to withhold, a door to walk past, a stranger to greet. My sheep hear my voice, not in thunder, but in the simple rightness of the next step. And love, yes, love will begin to flow outward without your managing it. A kindness will rise in you toward the one who vexed you. A patience will steady your hand. A generosity will move quietly from your inward storehouse. Nothing must come to you, everything must flow out of you. Listening opens the spigot. Set your heart, then, on this cadence for the coming days, morning, midday, evening, 2 or 3 minutes, through the day, 10-second acknowledgments, as frequent as breaths, but never forced. Keep a little sentence ready. Father, this is thy moment, and let it be the bell that gathers your scattered thoughts back into the sanctuary. Do not measure yourself by drama. Measure by the ease with which you return. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stay it often, stay it briefly, stay it with love. In this simple rhythm of brief acknowledgments, you will discover that you are not visiting grace. You are abiding in its stream, and the stream, having found your channel, will make of your very day a blessing. Beloved, the stream that has found your channel is not meant to pool. It is meant to pass through. This is the hour to turn from getting to giving, from gathering to flowing. And the word that opens this door is the prophet's old question, tell me, what hast thou in the house? Do not look to the street first, nor to the sky, but to the house within. What have you there? A little oil, 2 drops of peace gathered in your morning pause, a crumb of truth you carried at noon, a spark of forgiveness warmed in the evening. Begin with what is already within. The widow did not multiply by import, she multiplied by pouring. The vessels filled because she closed the door and let what she had flow. Cease, then, the prayer for supply, as if it lived outside you. Supply is not in the marketplace. Supply is the nature of God in you. All that I have is thine. Hear that not as poetry, but as structure. If God be the storehouse and God dwell in you, then the storehouse is within your own being, awaiting the opening of the spigot. How is it opened? By giving. Freely ye have received, freely give. Not tomorrow, now. Let love flow out now, a gentle word to the one who sits in their private storm. Let truth flow out now, one unadorned sentence that clears the air. Let forgiveness flow out now. Release a debtor in your heart before you meet them on the street. You will discover the paradox. As it flows, it grows. He that watereth shall be watered also himself. Do not stumble at smallness. What have you in the house? A cup of patience? Break and divide it. The master did not multiply loaves in the basket. He multiplied them in the breaking. Give ye them to eat. As they broke and gave, the more there was to break and to give. So with peace. Hold it, and it withers into sentiment. Share it, and it returns. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over. Speak a quiet truth in love, and it circles back to steady you. Sow mercy in the cool of the day, and you will find mercy rising to meet you before the sun is up. Listening directs the outflow. This is not a program of indiscriminate activity. It is a holy commerce guided by the still small voice. In your 10-second pause, the nudge will come. Call her now. Send the note. Say nothing in this meeting. Your silence will be light. Take the envelope in your desk and slip it quietly to that young man. Cross the street and bless the shopkeeper with patience instead of argument. I have stood in a corridor with 3 names upon my mind, and the inner whisper selected the second. The visit seemed useless then, and 3 months later the seed sprouted in a way that no chart could have forecast. You are not guessing. You are consenting to be guided. This is the posture shift that ends anxiety. From Lord, give me, to Father, let it flow through me. Try it on your lips now and through the hours. Father, let thy peace flow through me. Let thy truth flow through me. Let thy forgiveness flow through me. Nothing must come to me. Everything must flow out from me. This is not nobility. It is physics in the kingdom. The branch does not store sap. It bears fruit by yielding passage. I am the vine, ye are the branches. The more readily you let the life pass through, the more richly it circulates. Permit a witness. Once, in a gray city morning, Funds were low and needs were many, and the heart, feeling pinched, was tempted to ask for envelopes from heaven. Into that pinch came the whisper, "What have you in the house?" I had, truthfully, a warm coat and a word of cheer. On the corner a man shivered in a coat far thinner than winter. The thought rose not dramatic, simply clear. Give him your coat and your word. I obeyed. The climate changed inside me immediately. The pinch gave way to a current. An hour later, without contriving, came a phone call that resolved a matter money had seemed to tighten. I do not tell this to suggest barter. Grace is no slot machine. I tell it to witness flow. In the breaking and dividing, joy multiplied. In the outflow, sufficiency revealed itself as presence acting. So begin with the smallest thing at hand. What have you in the house? A verse that steadied you at dawn. Share it without adornment. A smile that is real. Give it where the line is slow. A silence that is kind. Offer it where criticism leans upon your tongue. A small bill folded in your pocket. Plant it where it will meet secrecy with dignity. Let listening choose the who and the how. Let love choose the tone. And as you move, keep the inner sentence alive. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let it flow through me. Then watch how the river, meeting no dam in you, becomes a river indeed, toward the neighbor, toward the task, back toward your own need, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Grace increases as it flows. Listening opens the spigot. Now let us see how this moves in the street, not in the study. The Spirit does not give us a theory to admire. He gives us a way to walk. Real guidance grows like fruit quietly from an atmosphere. Peace leads, then the steps appear of themselves. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. When confusion is in the room, I have learned to check who took the initiative. And the remedy is always the same. Return it at once to the Father within and wait for the one simple turn. Permit a small travel witness. A winter morning, a city not my own, 2 routes to the station, and a timetable tight enough to make the pulse quicken. My mind, like a little accountant, began to reckon. Left street busy, right street longer, taxi perhaps hurry. I felt the grind begin within. 10 seconds, Joel. Stop. Father, thou doest the works. This is thy errand, not mine. In that pause, the clamor fell an inch, and a quiet thought rose, not dramatic, simply clear. Walk to the river and take the footbridge. I nearly laughed. The map in my pocket did not even show a bridge. But the inward weather had cleared with that word, and the sign for me is always the same. When peace appears, obey. So I walked 2 blocks on, a small path opened between buildings, and there, hidden to the map but plain to the trusting eye, was a narrow pedestrian span. Over I went, down a flight of steps, and I arrived on the station's far side just as a door stood open where queues on the near side were knotted thick. 1 step in, and the train moved. No drama, only order after peace. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Not push, but presence. Not calculation first, but consent. Another scene. A meeting set to be rough misunderstandings, layered, voices primed. I felt the tongue readying its case. Beloved, that is your cue. Be still. 2 minutes in a small room before the gathering. Abba, Father, thy will, not mine. Silence. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. I did not ask for cleverness. I asked for the doer to do. Then came 1 sentence, not from preparation but placed. Begin by confessing what you value in him. That was all. I entered. I waited for the pace of the room to slow, and I spoke 1 quiet line. Before we touch the problem, I want to say I value your courage in raising hard things, and I may be wrong. Help me see what you see. It seemed small. It felt risky to the anxious mind that prefers a fortress of words. But the atmosphere changed. The shoulders across the table lowered half an inch. The reply came not as a counterattack, but a sigh. Thank you, I don't want to fight. A soft answer did what Scripture has always said. A soft answer turneth away wrath. The meeting that could have been a wrestling match became a working session. By the hour's end, we had a path. Peace first, then order. Atmosphere before argument. Results grew from the climate of God, not from our push. You will ask, but what if obedience looks foolish? To the anxious self, it often does. Waiting 2 minutes while others pace the corridor seems idle. Taking the unseen footbridge when the crowd streams to the main gate seems naive. Starting with a gentleness in a room trained for sparring appears weak. Try it. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Do not seek to make a show, seek the inward witness. My sheep hear my voice, not in thunder, but in the one rightness that carries peace with it. Measure not by spectacle, but by fruit. Is the inner weather clear? Did kindness rise? Did timing become simple? Did doors open of themselves? Then the Father within hath wrought quietly and well. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Make it your way now. Pause first. Let peace take the initiative from your hands. In that peace, listen for the next right step, one step only. If a sentence is given, speak it and stop. If a turn is shown, take it without fanfare. If no word comes, proceed gently, knowing that the steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord. Keep a small ledger, if you like, not of results, but of the inward witness. Where did peace lead? What step appeared? How was correction supplied when you missed it? In this practice, you will discover a holy predictability. When peace is first, order follows. When order follows, results arrive on time, often by paths you could not have designed. And through it all, you will learn to trust the simplest of faith's metrics, the presence acting within you. The Father that dwelleth in you, he doeth the works. Beloved, having tasted the sweetness of holy listening, we must now set guardrails, lest the soul, eager and anxious, turn the gift into a gadget. The subtle temptation is always to take the silence we have learned and fashion it into a lever to sit down in order to make something happen, to watch the clock, to eye the outcome, and so to wrestle where we were invited to rest. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. Hear that paradox rightly. Our labor is not to bend God to our hour, but to keep returning the initiative to the Father within. If the heart begins to tighten, if you feel the inward accountant taking notes on results, stop. 10 seconds. Father, thou doest the works. Then lay down the lever and sit in trust. Next, take heed against vain repetition. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Promises are not bargaining chips, they are assurances for the heart. Speak them once, perhaps twice, as you would rest your hand upon a friend's shoulder, and then be still. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. Therefore let thy words be few. The point is not to convince God of his goodness, but to become convinced of it ourselves, and so fall quiet in his care. Keep the tongue from multiplying words. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Fewer utterances, fuller presence. You will find that when the sentence is sealed with amen, The climate of God begins to do its work without your mouth keeping it alive. Refuse also the itch for signs. The Master spoke plainly. An evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. We do not live by wonders, we live by the word. Signs belong to God, and these signs shall follow them that believe. We do not follow signs. Abide and let confirmation come in God's good way and time. The sheep do not strain their ears for thunder. They recognize the shepherd by peace in the step he gives. If no sign appears, you have lost nothing. You have gained obedience. Let the fruit be your quiet evidence when it ripens. Order after peace. Steps that fit. Kindness rising. Doors that open of themselves. And about time, this is the sharp spur. Our anxious self loves a timetable. Beware of setting deadlines for God. You will only bind your own heart. It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. Say with the psalmist, my times are in thy hand. Remember, too, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. When you feel the calendar press upon your ribs, do not argue with it. Return the hour to God. 10 seconds. Father, thy timing, not mine. Then carry on with the next small duty, free of the clock's tyranny. You will discover the ease of providence in place of the panic of scheduling. But what if I hear nothing, you ask? Then bless the nothing. He that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit. If the surface is quiet and no word arises, trust that the prayer is being prayed beneath speech. The Spirit maketh intercession. You need not assist. Do the next right ordinary thing. Wash the cup. Answer with kindness. Tend the task before you, and keep the climate. Often, after such a day of holy quiet, the word you thought you needed will arrive folded into tomorrow's step, so natural you almost miss its grace. So here are the guardrails. Rest. Do not wrestle. Use promises as pillows for the heart, not coins for a bargain. Shun sign chasing. Let signs, if any, follow. Retire your timetables. Place your times in his hand. Keep the tongue from many words. Let your words be few and your trust be large. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and then consent to the hush. Abide in assurance. Release control of outcomes and timing. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. And you will find that the beauty is not only in what happens, but in how it happens without strain, without noise, because the Father within hath done it. Beloved, this is our sending, not into strain, but into a kept simplicity. We have named the guardrails, now fix the way. Let your life be governed by a gentle rule. Begin the day, touch the middle of the day, and close the day with holy listening. Not long, but real. Morning, before the world has your hands, 2 or 3 minutes of acknowledgment and hush. Midday, when noise would claim the initiative, 2 or 3 minutes to return it to the Father within. Evening, when the ledger of the hours would chatter 2 or 3 minutes to hand the sum back to God. And between these hinges, open and close the door 100 times by 10-second bows of the heart. Father, this is thy moment. Then once each week, choose a quiet corner and sit 5 to 10 minutes in pure availability, few words, one promise, much listening. Abide in me and I in you, for without me ye can do nothing. Let that be the canopy over your rule. Make this practical. Keep a sentence ready, not to multiply words, but to seal consent. Father, thou art here. Or, Father, thou doest the works. Speak it once, perhaps twice, and then be still. If a promise will steady you, lay your hand upon it and stop. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Then let the peace rule. In the week's longer sitting, do not go hunting visions. Sit as one who already belongs. Let the Spirit pray. Let the breath keep time with grace. If no word comes, bless the quiet. If a word is given, obey it, and do not add your embroidery. The steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord. You need not order them for him. Hear this also and be freed. We have no organization. We have no memberships. I am not sending you into a system. I am sending you into God. Your teacher is within you. You will not need me when you have your contact with God. You will not need any outer prop when the inner presence is your staff. It is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. Trust that. Do not be afraid of mistakes, and do not be afraid of failures. None of them are fatal. In this way of holy listening, correction is as present as direction. The same peace that leads will gently turn you when you miss a turn. Seal your identity now and cease the old posture. You are not a getter, you are an instrument. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Let that be truth, not ornament. Nothing must come to you. Everything must flow out from you. Love out, truth out, forgiveness out, supply out of the inner storehouse. I am the vine, ye are the branches. A branch does not clutch the sap. It yields passage and bears fruit by not interfering. So you make no move, at least, without acknowledging it, and then let the Father within do the works. If you stand at a threshold call, meeting, errand, door, pause, 10 seconds and say within, Father, thy will, not mine. Then take the step that peace presents. Let us close as we mean to live. Father, thou art the life of this day. The work is thine. The fruit is thine. Keep us abiding. Keep us listening. Order our steps. Quiet our tongues. Make room for the imprisoned splendor to escape. Lo, I am with you always. Thou hast said, we answer, be it unto thy servant according to thy word. And now, beloved, go in this simplicity. Keep the 3 periods. Keep the 10-second bows. Keep the weekly longer hush. Yield the initiative moment by moment, and you will find the ease of providence replacing the panic of self. The Father within will do the works, and peace will be the atmosphere in which your life bears fruit richly. Less asking, more listening, more grace,